And welcome to Behind the Thrones. This is season 8, episode 1 reaction. So Doku and I were watching it over on Rabbit. Next week we plan on doing the same thing. So if you're in the Discord and you want to be a part of this, hit us up. But all right. Even the fucking intro is different, Doku. Like, how are we gonna break this down? Like step by step? I don't know, man.
Yeah, we're going to have to do it chronologically, just step by step, go through the episode. What you got for us, Ferret?
Hold on.
All right. Oh, man. What a way to start off the season, though. Oh, boy.
Yeah,
right,
no.
can you
This
hear
is
me
going to
better
be
now?
good.
Yeah, we can hear you now. Yep.
Okay, I wasn't there to watch this, so get to talking, motherfuckers.
All right. Well, yeah, let's start off with the intro, and then we'll just go through the episode point by point and just talk about, yeah, they're setting the stage. Winter is here. I mean, some of the stuff we theorized on yesterday came to pass. Some of it didn't. Some of it kind of did, just in a different
died?
way. No one died. No one died.
Shocker.
I know, right?
Well, a few people died. I'll make my own plate. Thank you.
Yeah,
Nobody of importance, though.
We'll get to that. We'll get to that. So, no, let's just start with the intro.
How is the intro different?
So it starts with...
Sorry, go ahead.
No, it starts with Eastwatch by the sea, and they go from the far north. They go through the hole in the wall, and they go past the last hearth, which is indeed in this episode. We get to Winterfell. We go through the crypts. They changed it up, and it's not the top down thing. They kind of do this 3D as you're going through the castle itself. You go through the crypts, then they go south, and you go through King's Landing, and then you end with the Iron Throne.
Stop right there, though. Stop right there. Oh, and the way the throne comes out, it's like with the swords. I'm like, oh, that's sick.
Yeah, that shit was cool.
But the crypts are gonna be a big deal this season. All right. Are the dead Starks gonna rise up to kill the living ones?
I don't know. I mean, I don't think so. But
I have a theory, but I'll wait till after we get through the episode and we start theorizing going forward. Go ahead.
Yeah. Okay. So, and then it opens. All right. So it opens at Winterfell, right? You see the troops marching through, kind of like on the trailer. So you see the Unsullied troops, and then it has this epic music playing, though. Really great music score, right, Doku?
Oh, it is. It's like it's this battle drum style music, like as you would expect a marching army to have, and it just builds up. And I gotta admit, I love this opening scene. Like, as we talked about, how George R. R. Martin's more of a sci-fi writer than he is anything else, and the whole, like, sort of time loop sort of thing going on, it hankers back to the first episode, because you see this kid in the village outside Winterfell, and he's trying to get a good look at the troops, and he starts climbing a tree, like the same way you see Bran Stark. Like, they're putting a lot of emphasis on Bran in this episode.
And they focus on Arya right there, right? And she's just got this smile on her face. Just a slight smile, like she knows what the boy's doing.
It's so funny, because if you remember from episode 1, like, Arya and Bran were always screwing with each other. And so, like, the fact that they're calling back to sort of like how Bran always liked to climb, and you get the kid climbing the tree, you have Arya watching the troops marching in, she gets the smile, like, it almost feels like a weird version of episode 1, just completely shuffled around, and I love that.
Well, so as it continues on, though, Jon Snow and Dany go past Arya, and they don't notice Arya, and it's like she wants to yell out to Jon, but she doesn't. Why? Why doesn't she?
I think she.
Respect.
I think more it's because Arya wants to see Jon one-on-one, which they do have their reunion, but I think it's just she doesn't want to have a reunion with Jon, like, completely out in the open. Like, you have to remember all the shit that Arya's been through, and the fact that Jon is riding with a marching army and Daenerys is there, like, It would make sense that she's just basically there watching.
You also have to remember Arya's a smart cookie too. She knows who John is now. I mean, I feel like there's something going on. There could be something going on with her, like not wanting to stay back a little bit through what she's been through and everything. She's like, I'll talk to him in a minute. He's got shit to do. He's important now. Let him do his thing.
When she does talk to him, which we'll get to, there's a line there that I think is quite important.
All right, keep going.
Yeah. So Doku, go ahead.
All right. So obviously we have the Unsullied, the Dothraki. They're all marching in. They're marching into Winterfell. And it's like, okay, yeah, we already know the North doesn't trust outsiders. They sure as shit don't trust Targaryens. And they don't trust Lannisters, so Tyrion's not exactly going to have a warm welcome either. Everybody's kind of just scowling. But then you hear fucking Drogon in the background, and you see the dragons fly over the village, and they fly over Winterfell. And obviously all the townspeople freak out, because no one's seen a fucking dragon. And you shift to a scene with Sansa on the battlements of Winterfell, just watching these dragons as they fly over. And that's when
not even
they
flinching.
shift to Jon and... Yeah, well, concerned, but definitely not flinching. And that's when Jon and Dany finally actually get into the courtyard within the Winterfell gates. And that's kind of where the politicking starts.
No, real quick though, you skipped over the Hound marching past Arya, and I halfway expected the Hound to see her, but he doesn't. And then also Gendry, and Arya freaking sees Gendry, and of course he goes right past her too. I get it; they're on horses, so their line of sight's different, and Arya's pretty short.
And also it does kind of show you that Arya's time spent with the faceless men and basically hiding in plain sight, so to speak, has not gone to waste. She can quite literally hide in plain sight. She just stands there and people walk around her.
Yeah, no, and did you notice everybody else is on horseback other than freaking Tyrion and
Varys?
Yeah, Varys. Yeah, I thought that was kind of funny.
Yeah, they're in the carriage. The dwarf and the eunuch, the two most intelligent people, arguably, but they're the only ones that aren't on horses. And again, one's a eunuch and one's a dwarf. It's kind of a funny artistic touch there that they went with. And of course, Tyrion has his quips. It's fun to see the two of them go back and forth finally, after several seasons.
I'm gonna have to watch this now. God damn it.
It was good. Even just within the first 5 minutes, like you can tell, like, granted, some good stuff happens in this episode, but nothing insanely crazy. It very much is setting the stage.
Let's go. I have to be up at 6 a.m. tomorrow.
All right, so the very next thing we really get to of importance is the meeting hall, like the main hall within Winterfell, because there's not really a throne room in Winterfell, in case anybody forgot.
Well, real quick. I don't want to skip over the part where Sansa doesn't kneel. Because I even brought that up while we were watching it. I just had to say something. I'm like, she didn't kneel.
Of course she did.
Yeah, right off the bat, you can tell Sansa's pissed at both Jon and does not like Daenerys at all.
But she'll put up with it because it's Jon.
Kind of. She even at the point where she has to go, "Your Grace, Winterfell is yours." She kind of like spits it out. You know what I mean? Like a bad taste in her mouth.
Yeah, she says it. She says it because she knows it's expected of her, but it's almost in a very snarky "fuck you" kind of way.
I think that'll change.
Why are you? Yeah, like why are you in my home? Like
that will change.
You can tell. I will see where they go with it. I don't know. I'm not going to theory craft just yet.
Well, I want to hear the rest of the episode before I give my 2 cents, really. But
so the next scene we see, it's the Umbers, the Karstarks. I believe there's one.
So
more.
all the Bannermen.
Okay. Yeah. Here's what I want to point out right off the top. That little girl is that little girl. You know which little girl I'm talking about. I don't even know her fucking name, but it's the little cub from Bear Island. And she
doesn't give 2 fucks. She doesn't give 2 fucks.
No, she looks at Jon and how did she say it? She goes, You leave Winterfell a king. You come back well, I don't even know what you are now. Oh, snap.
Oh yeah, dude, she doesn't pull any fucking punches. I mean, she calls John out and like just like, yo, we fucking trusted you. You know the North doesn't like outsiders, especially not Southern rulers. Like she calls John the fuck out. And see, remember yesterday we were theory crafting. I was saying Daenerys, the Unsullied, the dragons, and Dothraki all being in the North is going to cause fucking problems. There's going to be a lot of reconciling that's going to have to go on for them to be able to cooperate. And the North is, as we theorized, is going to be pissed at Jon. They told him, don't go to Dragonstone, don't meet with a Targaryen, don't do any of this shit. And what the fuck do? You come back with a fucking Targaryen queen, an army of fucking soldiers from Essos, 2 different soldiers, the Unsullied and the Dothraki, and there's 2 fucking dragons hanging around. And as Sansa said, I planned on having provisions for winter for the North, not a army of Dothraki and Unsullied, not 2 dragons. Like, how the fuck are we going to work with this logistically?
Oh, I like that too, though. And what do Sansa here? And what do dragons even eat? And Dany doesn't miss a fucking beat, like fucking bitch face at all. Anything they want.
yeah, she just straight up kind of like, she doesn't even look at her, she just gives her kind of the side eye and just goes, whatever they want. It's just like, they're motherfucking dragons. Like, stupid question, bitch. Like, you can tell there's going to be some friction between these two.
Yeah, no, and I like how Gendry gets right to work, right? They roll the wagons in, he just fucking unloads, the fucking obsidian. And they even drop a piece. He's like, he picks it up and goes, we need everything we can get. Because he's seeing these fuckers.
Yeah, he tells them like, guys, be careful. We need every bit of this we can get. Because, yeah, he's seen them. Oh, and the other thing, we skipped something. We skipped something really fucking important. The second that Jon gets into the courtyard, he sees Bran and he goes to hug him. And, of course, Bran, now being the 3-eyed raven, it just looks at him and says, obviously there's some, some small bickering going on. And Bran's just like, we don't got time for this. The wall is, the army of the dead has breached the wall. They're on their way. The Night King also, hey, Dany, he resurrected one of your dragons. He's got a dragon now. And the wall is breached. They're on their way here. We don't have time for this shit.
Yeah, no, and there's someone new in the chat, Gene Jack Discord, it looks like, an animated ant. Gene Jack said it was shite. I do have a few critiques I'll make. We were gonna go through what happened in the episode and then do our critiques and then a little bit of theories for next week. I hope to do this every Sunday night, right after the episode, so.
Yeah, there are definitely issues I have with the episode. Overall, as an episode 1, if it was a 10-episode season, I would be okay with it. It was a bit short for my taste, but we'll get to the critiques after we recap the episode for everybody. So,
yes, please.
So moving in, the girl from Bear Island. Yeah, she calls Jon out. It's like, you gave up your crown, but she has some contention with Jon Snow. Tyrion has a little bit of a speech. For the most part, they don't really reconcile or anything.
Well, actually, Doku, you skip past Jon trying his little speech, trying to be forceful and then everybody just kind of stares at him, and then Tyrion gets up, and starts talking. It's kind of a funny moment to me. I thought that was kind of classic Jon Snow.
It is amusing. But I mean, really, all we need to take out of this scene is that, you're not going to get along. The Northerners don't exactly trust any outsiders. They've kind of been through some shit and been fucked over since the beginning of the fucking since season 1. So
and animated ant, we're gonna get the Cersei and Euron. We will here soon. I think it's actually the next scenes after the North goes right to Cersei, right?
Yeah, well, it goes to Euron on the Silence. That's the name of his flagship. And he's talking to Yara a little bit, and we see the Golden Company, and then it goes straight to the throne room at King's Landing, and he's trying to, as he says in his own words, he wants to fuck the queen.
And he did. He does. Cersei turns him down, and he keeps doing his fucking, his thing, being fucking obnoxious and arrogant, even more arrogant than Jamie with two hands. Like this guy fucking out.
Yeah, and he doesn't back down from it. He even looks at the mountain and decides to approach the throne, even if it's only a few steps. Basically, just swinging his dick around. Like, hey, I did what you want. He even tells it to Cersei. I've been loyal to the crown. I've done everything you want from me. Like, and she's like, oh, we agreed after the war is over. And he says, well, wars can last for years. Like, basically, like, motherfucker, I'm my dick's hard, man. Like, I did everything you wanted. Like, let me quote quote fuck the queen. And and they do.
But we skipped past still in the north, the reunion with Sansa and Tyrion. She straight fucking throws a little jab, and I used to think you were the cleverest man in the realm, right?
Oh yeah, because when Tyrion said that the Lannister army is also marching north, which doesn't set well with the Northerners. That happened in the meeting hall in Winterfell, and later on the balcony, which the same balcony where Littlefinger and Sansa were watching Arya spar with Brienne of Tarth. She says, "You believed your sister? I thought you were the cleverest man alive once." Like, just throwing some serious shade.
Yeah, and she just bounces too. Doesn't even look back at him. Just goes.
Yeah, she just flat out walks away, like cold shoulders him and everything. It's like, damn, dude. Yes, Sansa is not the same girl she was in the previous seasons. Sansa's kind of a bitch.
Is it technically? Aren't they still married?
Yeah, well, Tyrion even kind of brings that up. It was hard to explain after the Purple Wedding, like why my wife just disappears. Like, it was kind of hard to explain that. She doesn't give two shits, though.
Fuck you, bitch.
Right? Yeah. And no, go ahead and skip forward to King's Landing. What do you think about Cersei? So she fucked him. They don't show it. But then he goes and touches her belly and goes, "I'm gonna put a little prince inside you." And she to cry because she already is pregnant, supposedly.
Yeah, she has that moment where, first off, Euron asks, and I kind of found this amusing because it's a really interesting dynamic between Euron and Cersei, like the biggest bitch in the Seven Kingdoms, and then probably the most arrogant prick aside from Ramsay Bolton and Joffrey in the Seven Kingdoms, says, "Oh, do I please the queen?" And she looks at him and says, "You're the most arrogant man I've ever met. I like that." And then he says, "I'm going to put a prince in your belly," and then walks out and she says, "I want to be alone now." And he just walks out of the room, and she looks visibly distressed. It's a very good scene, despite it's only maybe a minute and a half long.
Yeah, exactly. And all right, it shoots the brawn. I had the shoe freaking because I figured this late in the seasons they're not going to really be showing nudity, right? They got better shit to do. No, of course, HBO. Thanks a lot. Had to get the kids the hell out of the room real quick. But the brawn scene.
Yeah, we got. I found this interesting. I don't know if you picked up on it, but there's three women of the night, shall we say, for me to be polite, with Braun, and they're talking about Daenerys and her dragons and attacking the loot train battle, and they're talking about the dragons and everything while Braun's trying to get his rocks off. I found it very interesting. There were three. The same way there are three dragons, and they're all talking about dragons. I just thought that was some interesting symbolism.
That's very interesting symbolism.
Hell, HBO gives no fucks. We got some new people in here. I'm not gonna be able to pronounce that, but welcome. In Brazil, Jon Snow is dead. What? Come on now. You can't do that. You're killing me, Brazil.
Oh, so yeah, the bronze scene. Of course, Qyburn comes in and ruins Braun's fun.
As always.
Yeah, in Qyburn's words, I hate to barge in, but the Queen insisted that I be as quickly as possible. Yeah, I don't remember the line, but just to sum it up, essentially what Qyburn tells Braun is, "Hey, yeah, Cersei wants you to do something about her traitorous brothers." And Braun's like, "Yeah, I heard that before, and they kind of fucked me over. I wanted a castle and everything." And he's like, "Yeah, well, there's a cart of gold out there, several chests worth waiting for you." And then he hands him the crossbow that Tyrion used to kill frickin' Tywin.
That's it. No, I know why she teared up. That's the moment she decided to kill Jaime.
Jaime and Tyrion.
Yeah, well,
she wants to kill them both.
She always wanted to kill Tyrion, though. But follow me here. He said, "I'm going to put a prince in your belly." He wants to marry her after she wins the Seven Kingdoms. She's gonna pass that child off as his. She's gonna do the same thing to him that she did to Robert, but now she's gonna kill Jaime and be done with him.
I mean, it's possible as well, but also remember when Bronn said the only motherfucker that's allowed to kill you is me, so you're not allowed to die? So now it looks like that's coming full circle as well. Like, this episode has a lot of homage.
He's gonna take the gold. He's gonna take the gold and head north and go tell him. Bronn's not gonna kill fucking Tyrion.
Bronn can't. He'll fucking take the gold and run. We all know how Bronn is.
And also, Bronn's had a strong relationship with both Tyrion and Jaime, so I don't think he'll do it.
When does Bronn ever listen to Cersei or anything she wants?
Never. Really? I think he's called her a cunt at least twice through the entirety of the series. And I'm
pretty sure once was to her face.
I think so. I don't remember. I have to go back and rewatch. But yeah,
I wouldn't be surprised.
Just that scene where freaking Qyburn hands Bronn the crossbow, and it's like, oh, all right, yeah, we know exactly what Cersei wants from Bronn, and she knows Bronn was Jaime's.
No, Doku. Remember, he mumbles, "That fucking family." You know what I mean? That's literally what he said.
Yeah, he hates Lannisters. I mean, even when Jaime, there's so many clips, Jaime trying to say the Lannisters always pay their. Don't fucking say it. Bronn does not like Lannisters. Oh, but no, I mean, it's a good scene because it's setting up some interesting. The theme going through the first, the theme through this entire episode and probably the next episode is, some very awkward, unlikely reunions. And so right after, I think we've beat this horse enough. Let's move on to what happens right after the scene with Bronn in the brothel. I like that, has a good ring to it, actually. So the very next thing we see is back on the Silence that's now anchored outside the Blackwater Bay at King's Landing. And lo and behold, look who actually shows up and grows some proverbial balls. Fucking Theon and his little band of pirates storm the fucking the Silence, and Theon frees Yara.
See, this is why you don't cut the tongues out of your sailors, because they could have yelled and been like, "Hey, these guys are attacking us," but no, they can't.
They can't scream. And what's the first thing that happens after Theon actually cuts Yara's rope? What does she do? She fucking headbutts the shit out of Theon and drops him to the ground. Which he deserves.
Are you even surprised? Yeah.
Yeah, no, not surprised at all. But it's just funny to see. But then she also does offer him her hand and picks him back up.
I feel like Theon's gonna keep his pair of balls and do some shit.
And there's a little bit more with Theon and Yara. But so, Mad Dodge, how did you feel about that scene? Because I laughed my ass off when Yara headbutted his ass.
Yeah, no, I think I said it while we were watching the episode. I'm like, oh, he deserved that shit. Like, dude, like last time he just fuck it and jumps off the ship. Like, fuck you, dude.
Yeah, I mean, at least he saved some of his dignity, but he did deserve that headbutt. But it's also nice to see like Yara's like, you're a fucking dick, but at least you came back to save my ass.
All right, moving on.
So the next thing we see is actually Yara and Theon on three separate Greyjoy ships. They're sailing to the Iron Islands, and they're like, "Hey, look, if Euron's in King's Landing, there's not enough people to defend the Iron Islands, so we're going to go take back our home." And her reasoning is if the Starks and Daenerys and everybody else that's gathered in Winterfell can't hold off the can't hold off the White Walkers, they're gonna need somewhere to retreat back to. The Iron Islands would be the perfect place to go, because for all we know, the White Walkers can't swim. Not to say they can't freeze water, but that's her logic. Theon wants to go fight, so she tells him go.
Well, and I'll say it right here. Theon's gonna die in the battle for Winterfell. Watch, he'll show up next episode, and he'll be dead in episode 3.
It wouldn't surprise me, but I mean, that would be a good redemption arc, because I mean, Theon's done some really screwed up shit. The Starks were, it's been hammered into us this entire time. The Starks have, been kind towards Theon. And Neddard even treated him like a son, and Theon kind of fucked him over.
Yeah, no, and looking at the chat again, we got a lot of new people. Welcome, everybody. Please hit like and subscribe. The legend says Bronn and Cersei have never done a scene together because they have relationship issues. Yeah, they actually dated in real life, and it wasn't a good breakup. They both hate each other. Yeah.
Well, that's a little factoid I didn't know. That's actually kind of funny.
All right, next scene.
No. I think they've only had one scene together, maybe. But yeah, no, she fucking hates him. But yeah, no. So is this when the dragon thing happens? Should we talk about that?
Yeah, let's jump forward to that. So the dragons aren't really eating as much as they should. I think what they say, like 11 goats and 8 sheep for between the two of them, which I would imagine for a dragon is probably not the healthiest diet in the world.
Well, Drogon's massive.
Well, and so Jon and Dany both go to where the dragons are chilling, hanging out. No pun intended, but pun anyways. And so Rhaegal takes a liking to Jon.
Oh my.
Yeah, Rhaegal kind of looks at Jon with a sort of, "Hey,
who are you?
You want to go for a ride?" So Dany jumps on Drogon's back, and Jon's like, "What should I do?" She's like, "Well, what if he kills me?" She's like, "Well, it's been nice enjoying your company." It's like, "Well, how do I ride a dragon?" It's like, "Well, you don't know until you try, basically." So Jon jumps on Rhaegal's back, and Rhaegal takes off like a pretty little fire-breathing fairy. And the way they did it's really good, because Rhaegal takes off first, and almost immediately, as soon as Jon gets on his back, so you can tell, like, all right, yeah, he's a Targaryen. They're really hitting us over the head with this. But what I love so much about it is Dany riding Drogon and Jon Snow riding Rhaegal. Rhaegal looks happy, and the two of the dragons are almost playing with each other in the sky as Jon Snow's about to piss his pants and almost falls off a couple times. It was a great scene.
That's cool. I had a feeling. Last time we talked about this, I said Jon was going to end up with a dragon.
Well,
yeah, no, and I called it yesterday when we did our predictions. I called it, dude. I knew it. I knew in that trailer when I saw the dragon bow his head, I knew it. Fucking. Well,
and that's the thing. We talked about this. Like, Drogon is looking at Dany, and Rhaegal is clearly looking at Jon. HBO was really cheeky though with some of their editing when they were showing in the trailer Rhaegal and Drogon flying through the valley in the north. they edited out Danny and John being on both of their backs, but they are essentially playing. And one of the things I have to point out because Mad Dodge was like, oh, fuck that, is after they get over this cliff edge, when they're done flying through the canyon, Drogon keeps flying. Rhaegal takes a straight nosedive and like crop dust straight over this forest, like blowing the snow off of it. And Jon Snow's again about to shit his pants. It's great.
Yeah.
He's putting Jon through the paces to see if he's worthy to ride him. It sounds like.
Well, am I the only one though that remembers the scene from Neverending Story? And that's what I thought of when I saw that scene. I don't know.
Oh,
I might be
real quick, just to address the chat briefly, the legend asked, do you think Ghost and Emirio will ever appear in season 8? I think they might appear in episode 3 or maybe the end of episode 2 to prepare for the Battle of Winterfell, because they're Starks. They're there to protect them. Yeah, I think they will show up.
Yeah, Ghost has to. I mean, that's John's freaking direwolf.
Well, we already know Arya is intent on fighting, and we know Jon has no choice. So it would be very shocking that the two direwolves don't show up to defend their Stark compatriots.
All right, so am I skipping too far forward when I go to talk about Sam, his scene? Or is that close?
We just have to address one thing. Both of the dragons land at, I don't know where this is, but a waterfall somewhere in the north. And Danny basically says we could stay here for 1,000 years and no one would ever find us. Jon says, it would be pretty old. And he's like, oh, well, it's cold for Southern Girl. And yeah, you know what happens. The whoopee. They make whoopee.
The creepy look on the dragons, though, Ferret, I know you haven't watched it, but the dragons, they look over, right? And they're staring at him. And then Danny's like, oh, don't be afraid of them. You know, like John's still afraid. He just rode one of the damn things. But anyway.
Yeah, the dragons are being creepy little pervs.
Yeah, because they're making out and they turn and the camera goes to John's point of view. And it looks at the freaking, is it Drogon?
It's Drogon and Rhaegal. They both are looking at them like, yeah, come on, do it.
Yeah, hurry up. Yeah, make some more.
Do your thing. I want to get back and eat.
When it's something else, just as a side note to point out, I got to give HBO credit. They managed to give the dragons their own sort of personality better than they've ever done in any of the previous seasons. Like, you can tell the dragons from that one scene, they do have their own personalities, and they kind of do mirror Jon and Danny. I thought that was kind of a nice touch.
All right, so we'll jump forward to Sam. He's reading.
How far through the episode are we?
About halfway, I think.
Yeah, we're about halfway through it.
Shit. I gotta go to bed, guys.
All right, well, take it easy then. Me and Doku will continue on. Good night, Ferret.
Cool. Good night.
Later, Ferret.
All right, so Sam, Davos and or no, that's not Davos. That's
no, that was Jorah.
Jorah and Danny go in there. And it starts off really great, right?
Yeah, Sam's kind of his, sort of quirky, shy self, and Danny comes in with a Jorah, and they're chatting a little bit, and Sam asks for a pardon, and Danny asks for what crime? And it's like, well, I stole a few books from the Citadel, and I kind of stole my house's ancestral sword. And he mentions that he's Tarly. So he talks about his father and his brother. So Danny has a bit of news for our good boy Samwell over here. How do you feel about that?
Well, no, and I'm trying to look at the chat as well. If you can help me out, I think you're on your phone though, but if you could try and help keep a check on the chat. They're asking
Okay, yeah, I will.
if we check the chat. We do. Sorry if I haven't seen a comment. All right, so no, at first he's like, all right, so at least I can go home now since it's my brother in charge. And she's like, well, he wouldn't kneel either.
Yeah, I think she said he stood with your father, and that's when Sam realizes, oh, they're both dead.
Yeah, and it's interesting. All he wants from the queen is a pardon. I'm gonna ask for a lot more. So would Braun, right?
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, it's kind of an emotional scene actually. It's really weird. I don't know how I feel about this scene. It's like, damn, dude, that would suck. Like, the next scene kind of hammers it home a little bit, but it's like, damn, dude, that's kind of one hell of a way to find out your father and brother are dead, and you're talking to the person who ordered their deaths.
Well, no, absolutely, and I think that's kind of why Sam approaches this next scene the way he does. So he walks out and he runs into creepy ass three-eyed raven boy, and he tells him, you need to tell John that he is, the rightful king of the Seven Kingdoms. And he's like, well, you're his brother. Why don't you do it? He's like, I'm not his brother, and he trusts you more than anybody. That was pretty telling, right?
And I found that line to be very, very interesting. How Bran is, you could tell he's not the normal kid that like he is the three-eyed raven. I don't even know if he really considers himself a Stark anymore.
All right, here's one from the chat. Yeah, I'll say K. I don't like getting people's names wrong because I don't want you to get mad at me. But Mr. Young here says, I'd love to hear their opinions on the question of if Jon will turn on Dany and take his throne. I don't necessarily think he has to turn on her, though, does he? Just marry her.
I don't think he would. But the other thing is, I don't really think Jon cares very much for the throne. At least not enough to turn on Daenerys if she's willing to fight with him in the long night. I think he would rather relinquish his rights to the throne completely and just say, fuck it. If you want like, pull a Jaime, you can have your throne. It's uncomfortable to sit in anyways.
But I don't know. That might get the North more in line, though, if they find out, well, our king is going to be ruling the Seven Kingdoms as a whole, Then that might get up more in line.
And real quick, just checking the chat, the legend, do you think Sam was happy about Randall being killed by Dany? He didn't look happy about Randall or Dickon being killed by anyone. Like, he's visibly upset.
What about Randall, though? Okay, so there's a second where he's like, he starts to tear up, and then he kind of shifts his face, right? He has good face acting, I think. I like this actor. And then he kind of smiles and goes, then he says the line, well, at least I can go home now.
Well, now that my brother's in charge. So you can tell Sam has more love for his brother than he does his father. Like, that's apparent.
And that's why he, after he talks to Bran, he goes down to the crypts to see Jon, and he actually trips and falls. I don't think that's, clumsy Sam. I don't think that's what it is. He's falling apart inside. And that news was what, 5 minutes ago? It hasn't even set in yet.
Oh, and that's also very apparent in the scene because he asked Jon when they're down in the crypts. Jon's looking at the memorial for Neddard, and Sam asks. Basically, he tells him what Dany did to his father and his brother, and he asks, like, "Would you do it? Like, would you have done that?" And he's like, well, I've killed people who've betrayed me or gone against my orders. He's like, yeah, but you've also spared people. Would you have done it? And Jon doesn't really give him a straight answer and kind of starts to walk away. And he says, well, you gave up your crown. And he's like, yeah, I'm not king of the North anymore. He's like, no, you're the king. And Jon doesn't pick up exactly on what Sam is trying to tell him. He goes, no, You're the king of all the bloody seven kingdoms, the protector of the realm, all of that. You're the rightful heir to the Iron Throne. Your father, or your mother was Lyanna Stark. Your father was Rhaegar Targaryen.
I like
You're the
John's
rightful
reaction.
heir.
I like John's reaction though. My father was the most honorable man I've ever known. You're telling me he lied to me for all these years? That's great. That's exactly what that character would say. I like that writing, at least. That was
No,
good.
yeah, that was perfect. Like, that's perfectly in line with Jon Snow's character. And Sam's response was also perfect. Yeah, your father was. If Robert Baratheon found out you were a Targaryen, if he found out you're Aegon Targaryen, he would have killed you. Your father did it to protect you. He was the most honorable man. And the just look of shock and disbelief on Jon's face. Like, you can't tell if he's pissed. You can't tell if he's in, like, I got to give it to Kit. Kit, I don't like your politics, but damn, dude, you can fucking act. Holy shit, that was great.
Well, no, and sorry about the kids behind me, guys. There's a lot of new viewers. I apologize. Paula Costello says, "Why did the episode feel so fast?" It did have some quick pacing to it, and I think it's the shortest episode of this season, if I remember right. Looking at the watch times.
And it was really quick pacing. They crammed a lot into, how long was it? 48 minutes or so? Maybe a little bit longer? I don't know. I didn't check while we were watching because I was, too busy actually watching the episode. But it did feel really quick on the pacing because they crammed a lot in. And that is kind of one of my big criticisms that we'll get to when we're done recapping everything.
But when Sam's telling him that, so John kind of shifts, though, because he's in disbelief. Obviously, he doesn't believe it at first. But then he thinks about that dragon ride, I think, anyway. That's kind of my theory on it. Like, he thinks about that, and it's like, oh, my God, that makes sense.
Yeah, it does seem like he kind of starts to, because, you know nothing, Jon Snow. It seems like now he's kind of starting to piece everything together.
Yeah, exactly. Now, what's he gonna do? How's he gonna tell Danny?
That's probably going to be something they bring up in episode 2, I would imagine, because I think they want to. That feels like something they would want to clear up before the Night King and the Battle of Winterfell actually happen. So we'll find out next week, I suppose.
All right, so Tormund and them up at the wall is next, right?
Yeah. Well, at the last hearth.
At the last, you're right. Yeah.
Yeah, with the Umbers. Oh, and something I neglected to mention. The Lord Umber, the little boy. We have a little girl, we have a little boy. Bear Island and Umber. So he went back to the last hearth to, evacuate and basically give everybody his ass to Winterfell before the Night King arrives. So we have Tormund, Benedict Dondarrion approaching in the last hearth. You can see some blood in the snow and everything. They're going through the castle proper. They hear some people walking around, and they run into Thoros of Myr. Well, as they're doing their little search through the last hearth, we see little boy Umber pinned to the wall with the White Walker's usual spiral symbol that we saw back in episode 1. The same spiral symbol.
Oh, we skipped past some stuff then, because that's right at the end. But go ahead and talk about that, and we'll jump backwards, because we skipped past a couple things, because that's right there at the end. But that was some crazy shit, right?
Oh, yeah, that scene. That's a fucking scene. So, yeah, little boy Umber is pinned to the wall in the throne room of the last hearth. They have that spiral symbol, the same one we've seen in episode 1, the very beginning. We've seen it around the weirwood trees. And Benedict Dondarrion says, yeah, this is I don't know if you would call it a warning.
The chat corrected you. Yeah, it's Thoros died in season 7. Yeah, you're right. It is Dondarrion.
Did he?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, there's so many characters. We apologize if we slip up.
I got that wrong. Again, damn it, George R. R. Martin, why do you need this many characters? But yeah, no, so Benedict Dondarrion says, yeah, this is I don't know if you would call it a threat or a warning, but it's from the Night King. And they're chit-chatting a little bit, and then what the fuck happens? Frickin' little boy Umber reanimates and screeches like a motherfucker. It scared the piss out of both me and Mad Dodge.
Yeah, I jumped. I was like, whoa, what?
Yeah, I was like,
but
oh, what the...
Though, at the opening of the scene, though, it was so quiet. I'm like, something's going to jump out. And I was waiting on it. And then they defused that feeling. I liked that. That was good.
No, it was very good. And that's the thing. When he says, like, oh, this is a warning from the Night King, I was like, nah, I'm pretty sure that's a threat. I don't think that's a warning.
Yeah, absolutely. But, no, going backwards, what did we skipped something that was fairly important.
We skipped Arya and John's reunion.
That's what it was. Yeah, talk about your feeling on that. And the line, don't forget that we're family, right? That was interesting.
Yeah, and it definitely this happens before Jon finds out that he's not Jon Snow but Aegon Targaryen. Arya, I love it when Arya looks at him and she goes, "How did you survive a knife through the heart?" And Jon's response just, "I didn't." It's like, and then they hug, and it's like, oh, well, that's one hell of a way to say hi.
Yeah, no, and he shows her long claw and stuff. That's cool. All right, so Peter says, here's a question. What is Dorne doing at the moment? Is Dorne completely out of the fight? Not in the books. Not at all in the books. When you're talking about the show, they messed up the Dorne plot so bad that they killed everybody important and just threw the scripts away. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I don't think we're going to be seeing Dorne. And I think they just decided, like, we screwed that one up. We'll just let sleeping dogs lie and not remind the more hardcore fan base that we managed to fuck that up so badly.
All right, so the very end.
Oh, we did forget one other thing.
Oh, all right.
Arya, Gendry, and the Hound.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, that was good. I liked that. The Hound, you little bitch.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah, he left me to die, and Arya's response, "I robbed you first."
Yeah, right? That's awesome.
That was good. And oh, by the way, the Hound has a nice dragon glass axe, so it'll be nice to see him swinging that around. Hopefully Gendry has a dragon glass warhammer. I would like to see the two of them fighting in the Battle of Winterfell together.
Yeah, I like that they have Gendry using a warhammer too, just like his dad. I like that. That's cool.
Yeah, and also Arya does give Gendry I guess you could call it a blueprint. It looks like she wants like a blow dart. Like remember back when damn it, why am I blanking on the dude's name? The faceless man, Jaqen H'ghar, where when they were back at damn it, George R. R. Martin, so many names. Harrenhal. When they were at Harrenhal, where Arya is kind of a steward-ish role with Tywin Lannister, and where she's like, "Oh yeah, my father was a blacksmith. He taught me how to read." And Tywin was kind of sort of grooming her to be not a peasant. Well, that guard got killed by a blow dart. So I assume Arya's taking a page out of the Faceless Man's book and wants a dragon glass blow dart or something to that effect to fight in the Long Night. She asks Gendry if he can make it.
Yeah, and she also has the Valyrian steel daggers. So, and I like his. I always knew you were a rich girl, or what was it he said exactly?
Oh yeah, he said, "I always knew you're a rich girl," and she says she only know one rich girl. Like Arya just being snarky. Like it wasn't this super heartfelt reunion like you get with Arya and Jon Snow. It was basically all of them kind of sort of being normal, but at the same time, Arya does, like, as she's walking away, she does that turn around and walk backwards with that smirk on her face. Like, Arya wants Gendry. Like, that the love for him has not faded. If anything, it's grown stronger. So that was a nice little touch, because we've all been waiting for that.
Are we going to get to see Hot Pie this season? Just wondering. No, I'm kidding.
Hot Pie sits on the Iron Throne.
Yeah, that's right. But
Paula says she wanted the reunion to be more emotional. It could have maybe used a little bit more emotion, but I thought it was done fairly well. And the legend, do you think we'll see the Night King or at least the White Giants in the next episode? If we do, it'll be probably at the end. I think they're probably saving the majority of that for season 3 because they do mention,
episode 3. But yeah,
episode 3. Yeah, you can tell I'm still kind of coming off the hype train, but they do mention with when Tormund and Benedict are in the Last Hearth, they mention that if the Night King's already come and cleaned house here, that means they're between us and Winterfell. So maybe we'll see it in season 2. God, I need to stop that. Yep, go ahead, make fun of me, chat. You have your free pass. In episode 2 of the final season, we might see it, but I don't think it'll be until about the end of the episode. Maybe like the last 10 minutes or so.
Okay, so does the Sansa and Jon scene happen first, or the one with the reunion with Arya? Well, we already talked about that. So the Jon and Sansa scene where Sansa says, "Did you bend the knee because you wanted to save the North, or because you loved her?"
The Sansa scene was, I believe that was first, but I don't remember now. We need to go back and rewatch this.
Yeah, no, but what do you think about that? Because she immediately knows he's, hooking up with the dragon.
Yeah, Sansa definitely has become a lot more clever than she was back in the first couple of seasons, because she knows there's a little bit more going on between Jon and Dany than just, I wanted to save the North, so I relinquished my crown and bent the knee. It's like, yeah, you did it for a little bit more than that, didn't you?
Well, yeah. Well, he got more than that,
Yeah, he did. But, Evening, Andy.
But no, did you think it was also interesting that they were sitting around Varys, and Tyrion and freaking Davos, right? They're talking about getting those two to marry each other. I mean, they're already sleeping together, so why are you even discussing it? Let them, they'll come to that conclusion, it looks like.
Well, that scene, from what I could gather, is that's them more thinking of, okay, let's say we actually survive the long night, what's going to happen to the rest of the Seven Kingdoms? Like, essentially what I think they're foreshadowing is it would be very important or very detrimental if either Jon or Daenerys died during the War for the Dawn. So, they're basically the two most important characters at this point in time. We need to do everything we can to keep them alive and, keep this alliance together, because otherwise the Seven Kingdoms is just going to devolve back into war. At least that's what I took away from it.
Hello, Andy. Welcome to the show. Please like and subscribe. I've never seen you before, so I'm assuming you're new. He says, evening all, reasonably poor start to the season, let's be honest. We will get into some critiques. We're not just gonna fanboy here. So the last scene though, Jaime Lannister shows up and meets eyes with Bran. Interesting.
Yeah. I hate that they ended on that, though. It's like, are you kidding me? That's how you're going to end the first episode of the final season? I mean, I get, like, there are a lot of callbacks to the first season, specifically the first episode. But ending it on that note, it's like, oh, come on, man. That feels like a punch to the balls.
Yeah, I wanted it to keep going. And if there is a preview for the next episode in there, I didn't watch it yet. Maybe when I do my full review video, which I plan on doing and releasing on Tuesday, I might critique the trailer in that as well if there is one. But all right. So what's your problems with the episode? I thought the scoring was good, and well, actually, first, between 1 and 10, what do you give it?
Between 1 and 10, I'm gonna give it a 7. And yeah, 6.5 actually.
Funny. I think I'm right there with you. What's your reason? Mine is more the pacing was too quick. we waited for a year and a half. There was the longest wait in between seasons for this, and it just blew by. And now I'm like, fuck, can't wait till next weekend.
Yeah. So, all right. First off, I'll go over what I actually liked about this episode. The acting, of course, was as good as I expected it to be. Nothing stellar, but definitely on par. I liked some of the scenes. I liked the reunion aspect. I liked the fact that there was a lot of callbacks to everything that we've seen from the previous seasons. It did kind of, despite the long wait, it did kind of remind me like a lot of the reason I got into Game of Thrones in the first place. I like some of the tension going on. The dialogue was fairly well written. It could have been better. I loved the scene with John finally actually riding a dragon and the way they did that. Now,
That's funny. Paula in the chat said John riding the dragon was a bit corny to me. Felt like Aladdin.
And they're giving it does kind of feel like that now that she mentions it.
Yeah, so Andy says 5, Paula says 5, The Legend 7, maybe 7.5. Richard Smith, welcome, says 6. The pacing was awful, kind of. I mean, I didn't feel like it jarred me too much, but I felt like it was so quick after such a long wait. You know what I mean?
That is definitely my biggest complaint. Is it was just for the opener, I was hoping for at least an hour and 45-minute episode. Like I get they're setting the stage, I get they're doing the reunions, but I mean, I wanted more. Like I kind of feel like HBO let me down on that aspect. Like there's a lot of content shoved into an episode that could have been at least 20 or 30 minutes longer. But maybe that's just me.
Yeah, and okay, Sansa's either a victim or a bitch. There's no in between with her, right?
Yeah, I'm starting to really not. I mean, I understand why Sansa's character is the way she is, but I really don't like her. Like, she's probably my least favorite character at this point in time.
Yeah, no, and it's like she really practiced resting bitch face in the mirror. Like Sophie Turner, good job.
I know, like, damn, man, why didn't not to piss anybody off, but damn, guys, it's like you fucking casted Brie Larson as Sansa for the final season. The fuck? Sorry, I had to go there. But yeah, no, the pacing, it was too quick. There wasn't enough, and the only other thing that irritates me, I wanted to see the Army of the Dead attack the last Hearth. That was something I predicted yesterday. I thought we were going to see it, and they didn't give us that. It could have just been 5 minutes. Just a 5-minute sequence.
Are they saving budget for the Battle for Winterfell?
Yeah, that's quite possible. And if anything, I mean, we didn't see the Army of the Dead in the entirety of this episode. That really irritates me. I mean, it's the last frickin' season. There's only 6 episodes. I know you want to save all the good stuff, but come on, man, give me a little bit, like...
Another criticism. Why didn't they have Ghost in the episode, and why didn't he meet the dragon that John was going to ride? That would have been great.
Oh, and Andy says 80% of the budget was spent on episodes 5 and 6. It'll be very interesting to see what they do with that. But I mean, even then, though, that they could have done more with this episode. I'm not displeased with it. I like the stage they're setting, but it feels like there's a lot of wasted opportunity.
Do you think Bran is gonna have Jaime killed? I mean, he could do that. Snap of his fingers. Hey, John, he's the one that pushed me.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, he could. I don't think he will. I did find something else interesting about this episode, is there is a lot of reference being directed at Bran. Like, I think Bran, the theories might be correct. Bran has a really, really big role to play that we're not necessarily completely aware of yet. And just the fact that they started out the beginning of the episode with soldiers marching into Winterfell, and you see a young boy climbing a tree. You see a young boy, little boy Umber, with that circle, that spiral pattern hung up on the wall. And the fact that Bran is always out there, he's the three-eyed raven. We know the relationship between the White Walkers, the Children of the Forest, and the three-eyed raven. We know Bran has been touched by the Night King, not in real life, but in the quote-quote warg world, I guess you could call it. Bran has a really, really, really big role to play. They're making that very apparent. They're not trying to hide it.
Oh, yeah, I was just looking at the chat. Yeah, right, Richard, no elephants. Cersei really wanted her fucking elephants.
Yeah, Cersei was really mad about those elephants. She really wanted those. But as the commander of the Golden Company, I already forgot his name. Yeah, sorry, elephants don't do well traveling overseas in wooden boats. So sorry, Cersei.
Yeah, no elephants. I think that's a meme, right? That's got to be a meme already.
It's probably already a meme.
Yeah. But all right. What else? In chat, go ahead and throw out there what you guys don't like, and we'll try and keep up and read some of them off. I don't know. Mainly the pacing, really, but Bran, or not Bran, but Braun, sending him to kill Jaime and Tyrion. Does Cersei really think that's going to work?
It's Cersei. I mean, who knows? I'm not really sure on that one. I don't think Braun will do it, but then again, it is Braun. He wants his castle, and as Qyburn said, like, imagine, when I got kicked out of the Citadel, I thought I was, a dead man. And look at me now. Imagine what she would do for the person that kills her two traitorous brothers. And we all know Braun wants his castle. But I don't know. I don't think he'll do it.
Yeah, but Jon could just give him the Dreadfort, right? There you go. Like, how about you not kill the Hand of the Queen?
Yeah, I guess he could. It'll be interesting to see what they do with that plot line. I'm going to call it now. I think that is not going to be the same plot line George R. R. Martin uses in the books. But as far as the show goes, yeah, I guess Braun could take the Dreadfort if he really wants, or at this point, the Last Hearth, since that place is a freaking graveyard.
Yeah, absolutely. Are you looking at the chat by any chance? Have they thrown anything out there?
Let's see. The legend.
I'm also getting my kids off to bed, guys. So yeah, that's why I'm asking Doku to check. I've been trying to keep an eye on it as well.
Okay, so go ahead and tend to your fatherly duties, and I'll banter with the chat a little bit. So the legend. I didn't like Tyrion as much as the last seasons. He's not clever and charming anymore. Yeah, I can see where you're coming from on that, and it's kind of funny you bring that up because Sansa literally says it. Like, I used to think you were the cleverest man alive. Clearly he isn't. So that was kind of funny, and yeah, he seems to be a bit like, I don't know, he's lost his confidence in a way. Tyrion definitely is not the same snarky character that he was in the past. So the way his story arc ends will also be something very interesting to see. Andy, I thought that the way they made Dany reveal she killed her father and brother was good. Yeah, I think they could have done better, but it's appropriate for the show, and I don't know. It's not the best thing in the world. I kind of have my own personal issues with it, but it wasn't a make or break thing for me. John's true name was not great. Yeah, that was kind of a big reveal. I expected them to reveal it in season 1, but it didn't have the kind of weight I wanted. And yeah, you have Jon Snow down in the catacombs. Okay, that's good. You have Sam doing it. Okay, that's appropriate. But it just seemed like it didn't have that weight. It didn't have that big holy shit. You're the true heir to the Iron Throne. Oh, by the way, yeah, you kind of maybe a little bit of incest going on there. Like, I don't
Do you
know.
think he's thought about that yet, though? Do you think that's sunk in?
It, I I feel like it would have, but it didn't. It didn't have the feeling like it did. I'm sure.
And Eldritch, we can hear you. We're doing a reaction to the new Game of Thrones episode. Did you by any chance see it? If not, we can catch you up. And I did hear you when you talked a second ago.
And real quick, Richard Smith, did you think the way Sam told John seemed more like a revenge than anything? Yeah, it did seem like kind of revenge, but at the same time, Sam being pissed at Danny more than John, and hence him asking, would you have done this? Would you have done what Daenerys did if you were the king?
Hello.
Hey, what's up, Eldritch?
I'm guessing he can't hear us.
Maybe not, but yeah, no, just to finish.
I'm not hearing you.
Yeah, we can hear you, Eldritch, but I guess he can't hear us. So
yeah, I
Eldritch.
I chat for him to try the F5.
Yeah, I guess Eldritch is one of the sailors on the Silence, surrounded by a bunch of mutes. But yeah, no, Richard, I do feel like it was a revenge sort of thing, but well, maybe not. Maybe revenge is not the right word. I feel like it was more Sam wishing that John wasn't, for lack of a better term, bending the knee to Daenerys.
I'm gonna have to try and fix something. I'll be back.
All right, man. But yeah, it seemed. I mean, Sam was clearly upset, so that's why he's asking John, "Would you have done this?" I mean, and that's why he drops, "You're the actual true king. You're the rightful heir to the Iron Throne. If you were the one that was in charge, my father and my brother might still be alive. Stop trying to run from, essentially, I guess you could call it, your destiny, as corny as that is." I don't think Sam was doing it as revenge, but just more, I guess, kind of pissed off at John for not embracing the fact that, yeah, dude, you're probably the only person, maybe one of a handful, if that, who actually should be in a leadership position. You've saved wildlings. Sure, you've killed people to make an example of them for going against you or betraying you, but you've also spared the lives and saved the lives of thousands. Accept your role as king of the Seven Kingdoms. Like, come on, dude. What do you think, Mad Dodge?
I think it was a little bit the way he asked those questions was like he didn't necessarily. I don't think he was necessarily going to tell him. I think he was going to ignore, creepy freaking tree kid and not tell him if he answered the questions wrong. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, it was the way they went about it. I'm not going to go as far as to say I hate it. But again, like a lot of things with this episode, I'm displeased because it feels like a wasted opportunity for something that could have been so much more impactful. Oh, and Andy, this is a question I always love. What did you think of the child limb symbol message the Night King left? So again, this goes back to episode 1 when the Rangers are ranging beyond the wall when we very first get introduced to the White Walkers, and we also see this symbol around the tree that Bran goes to, where the three-eyed raven is. I think there is definitely, and again, I'm theory crafting here. There's definitely a connection between the Children of the Forest, the three-eyed raven, Dragonglass, Targaryens, Starks being able to warg, and that particular symbol, the spiral symbol. I don't know what the connection is, but there clearly is a connection, and the Night King He clearly does not like Jon Snow. He had ice and fire. We know that for a fact now. But I think really more what he's going after is Bran. I think Bran is actually the key to everything. What that is, I don't know. But yeah, Andy, that spiral symbol. If you go back to uh damn, what season was it? I think it was season 5 or season 6 when Bran finally reaches that tree beyond the wall. You can see the way the rocks are laid out. It's the same spiral symbol that you see at the beginning, or not, the beginning of episode 1, where uh, those 3 people who are ranging, you see the bodies laid out, like the horse heads and everything. It's the same spiral symbol, and it's also shown again uh, at season 3 at the Fist of the First Men. So they've shown us that same spiral symbol 3 different times distinctively, and I also wonder if that is not somehow tied into the idea of quote quote breaking the wheel. And I kind of want to go back and look how many different arms on the spiral are there? Like, how many major houses are there? There's the Starks, the Lannisters, the Baratheons, the Targaryens, uh,
Greyjoys,
Greyjoy, House Gardner, uh, and
not House Gardner. It
or
was
no, not no, the Tyrells. The Tyrells. That's 6. There's 2 more I'm forgetting. What was the one from Dorne again?
Martells.
Yeah, the Martells. That's 7. And there's one more because I need to go back and double check this. I think that might, because there's 7 great houses, there's 7 kingdoms. Are there 8 spirals or 7 spirals? Because if there's an 8th, does that represent the White Walkers? I mean, the other? Because there's also the Faith of the Seven. 7 seems to be kind of a magic number, no pun intended, within this series. That might be a big hint that we might have been overlooking this entire time.
Yeah, no. Is there anything else?
The sands were the Martells, and there are a lot more houses. I'm just talking about the big 7. I don't know. There might be a lot more.
No, and yeah, we forgot the Aarons. Yep.
Oh, yeah, that was the other one.
Robin. Yeah, Robert Aaron.
Yeah, the Eerie. That was the one I was trying to think of. So yeah, that would make 8. So that might be some symbology we've been overlooking. Would like to go back and look at some stuff. Now I'm gonna have to end up rewatching the entirety of this freaking show.
Yeah, no. Any other problems you had really with the episode? Anything major that you think might be it might mess up the whole season that they're starting off with when it comes to plot?
The only other major problem I have is just with the way they did this first episode. Going forward, I don't want it to just be, the Battle of Helm's Deep, but for 5 episodes. Like, I get that they're trying to set everything up. I get they're trying to stay true to the characters. It was a little bit rushed. But when you're going into a final season and when you want to make, this big grand epic, it really needs to hit home. It needs to make an impact. And I don't feel the same sort of emotional holy shit, what the fuck that I did in some of the previous seasons, not because it wasn't like this epic buildup or anything. Like, yeah, there was a lot in them that was good. It doesn't quite set the stage for me in a way where, I'm going to have that same sort of emotional holy shit moment, like when the mountain crushes the dude's skull, or where Neddard gets beheaded, or with the red wedding. It doesn't have that same kind of buildup. It feels rushed, and I don't like that. That worries me.
Do you think it's just the pacing of this episode? I'm not sure who directed it. I didn't look at that. There's a lot of new viewers here, guys. We watched it on Rabbit together, and then we immediately started up the stream. So,
yes, well, part of it is the pacing. Some of it has to do with the acting. Some of it has to do with the writing. Like it's nothing major in particular. It's just a combination of a bunch of little things that just sort of make me. I mean, I know I'm gonna look forward to the big epic battles. I want to see the Night King. I really would like to see sort of a Dance of the Dragons sort of thing with Danny and John versus the Night King all riding the dragons. Like I look forward to that. I think that's probably the direction they're going with it. But it's rushed. It's a culmination of all these tiny little things that just don't. It doesn't have the same sort of like emotional impact, and that's really what Game of Thrones has been successful at doing, is creating characters that you really give a shit about, that you're emotionally attached to. So when something horrific or crazy or off the wall happens, it is a big what the fuck moment. And I don't get that same sense from this first episode.
yeah, no, Eldritch, are you able to hear us now?
Yeah, I can hear you now. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you get a chance to see the episode? I know you're at work, so probably not, right?
No, I haven't. Although you have a good point, and I kind of anticipated that was what was going to happen. See, I've always seen Game of Thrones is that, how they always have that story where they go, here's the hero, and he has this tragic past, and now you catch up with him as he's finally finished his training, and now he's going off to kill the bad guy. Instead of starting at that point, I always saw that that he started at the beginning where everything's happy, and then we kill the guy's father and we destroy the hero's life, and you make him miserable. And this last season, it strikes me as where we're finally reaching the point where the good guys are going to rise up and kick people's ass. So unfortunately, I think this last season is just going to seem more typical because that's the direction it was always going.
Oh, just real quick to address the chat. Nikki, why does the Three-Eyed Raven call Jamie an old friend if he's still not partially Bran? I thought he only said that to Sam. I don't think he said that to Jamie. And then Andy said he looked it up. The symbol does have 8 arms, and there are 16 families. So yeah, that definitely probably is some symbology. So that has to be something significant for one reason or another.
Yeah, no, and the thing is too, like, all right, so one of the things that kind of bothered me, and there's nothing SJW in Game of Thrones, so there's nothing to complain about there. It's just what bothered me, other than the pacing, was kind of what they've done to Bran the whole time. Like, the actor that plays him said that he was going to be more human this season. It doesn't look like it, does it?
I mean, it would be ironic if they said that, and then all of the fan theories where, Bran, as we know, the Three-Eyed Raven Bran the Builder, and the Night King all are somehow interconnected. Maybe he's more human in a way that we're not, aware of just yet. I don't know. He definitely seemed very plain, disconnected, detached, disjointed.
Stoned? That's what he looked like to me. He looked baked.
Or stoned. And Richard Smith, you have a good night as well. Thank you for joining us. So yeah, I don't know. Do you have any other
work?
Oh
yeah,
no.
well, gotta make money somehow.
I have more to talk about here with this episode. Well, I guess we can go into our predictions portion if you want. But I mean, Actually, first, what do you think of the CGI on the dragons, the final product? Because we kind of critiqued the trailer last night. What do you think about the final product?
It wasn't as bad as I was expecting, going off what the trailers looked like, but it's about as good as it always has been. I mean, it's acceptable. It fell in line. That one shot with Drogon staring at John and Danny before they're about to get it on, that CGI was really good. Like, but it definitely looks like they didn't give it their all, but it's by no means unacceptable. It wasn't, it wasn't the Dark Knight Rises or not the Dark Knight Rises. It wasn't Batman v Superman or Justice League or anything like that. It sure as shit wasn't a Michael Bay movie. It was acceptable.
Hey, Joshua's in the chat. What's up, man? You saw the episode 2, it looks like. The three-eyed raven, I believe, is the Night King, Joshua says. Which three-eyed raven, though? Are you talking about, Bran? Are you talking about the last three-eyed raven, which I don't remember his name right now, and honestly, I'm not even going to bother to try and look it up.
It was, all I remember is it was a Targaryen.
Yeah, exactly.
Andy, I agree with you. When the dragons were flying, the CGI was definitely not good. I think that's more just because of how the scenes themselves were shot, not necessarily the fact that they didn't really care to make the CGI any better. But when the dragons were still, it did look good.
Doku, what I think it is they filmed, where did they film? In Iceland or something like that, right? So they can go out there and take helicopter fucking beautiful panoramic shots of the mountains, but then they're just editing in a dragon, and you can tell.
Yeah, and I think that's really why it fell flat in terms of that particular scene where the dragons are actually flying. I mean, maybe they thought like, oh, well, the audience will just, it's dragons flying. They're moving fast. Yeah, they won't notice. Like, no, we noticed it. But maybe they're just saving budget. Who knows? When the dragons were still, they did look good.
Yeah. I don't know. Do you think John's gonna ride a dragon in the books? Is John even gonna come back to life in the books? That's a question that really needs to be asked, right? We don't know that for a fact. I'm sure
he will. Did he die again?
I can hear you.
Did he die again?
No, he's still alive.
Okay, I was just wondering.
But in the books, the last book ends with the stabbing. So.
Yeah, no, I think he will come back to life because, I mean, let's be honest, man. He's a Stark and a Targaryen. We have that confirmed. It's the Song of Ice and Fire. He will come back. Whether he survives the end.
Okay, as long as we have that settled, because I agree. All right, now in the books, is he gonna ride a dragon? There's always been the fan theories where we have been arguing about it, and I always fell with, yeah, he probably will get a dragon, and the show seems to confirm it now.
I'm of the opinion he will. And Joshua, Joshua, a little off topic. Which families do you guys have the stronger connections to? That's kind of a tough one.
I have a Stark banner hanging on my wall.
Hey, and I have a Stark backpack that's in the shape of a round shield. But honestly, I don't know. I kind of like what's the house with the sword Dawn? Damn it! Why am I blanking on the name? It's late. I apologize, guys. You know who I'm talking about? The guy who fought Neddard at the Tower Joy.
Yeah, Dane.
Yeah. That's actually probably one of my favorite. Actually, I think that is my favorite. I wish they got more attention, but
my favorite character would have to be I know. Ned Stark.
Yeah, House Dane.
he won me over in the first book, and that's when he dies, and he died at the right after he won me over. So perfect time to die. He didn't live long enough to be the villain.
So
I just like the short guy.
Tyrion.
Oh yeah.
So let's see. We got Dane, Stark, and Lannister.
Yeah, see, I don't
Interesting.
like the family Lannister, but if you said which character like that I think I would be most like, I have a freaking show we talk about politics, philosophy, and everything else on, and it's named I Drink and I Know Things.
Well,
So
no, Joshua asked which house do you feel more strongly towards?
yeah, so Stark.
So yeah, you're Stark. And yeah, Andy, the Hound is a freaking amazing character. I love the Hound. I'm gonna have to eat every damn chicken in this room if you keep running your mouth. The Hound is just great.
Here's a question: would either of you guys let Arya cook you a meal?
No way in hell.
No.
Like, am I missing a cousin? God, no, thank you, Arya. I'll pass.
Yeah, they pulled a straight up South Park on that one.
Although speaking of like SJW stuff, I got the impression at this point that she's got plot armor, that there's no way anything bad's gonna ever happen to her.
Who? Daenerys?
No. What's her name? The person who wears the faces.
Arya.
Oh, Arya.
Arya. Yeah. Like she just struck me as like there is no way that they could kill that character without like there being a freaking revolt. You know. So I think she basically got plot armor at this point.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't think
any male in the game, any male in the show is open game. They have no problem killing with any man. But I mean, at this point, I don't think there's very many females left that they could kill off that people would be good with. You know, I mean, obviously, what's her name? Who walked naked through the streets? I'm blanking on names tonight.
Cersei.
Yeah,
Cersei.
That's the one.
She's gonna die.
Yeah, I mean. Yeah, if they're going to give the audience any sort of satisfaction, she is going to have some horrible, hideous death, or she's going to have a horrible ending where she's like, I don't know, imprisoned in a suit of gold and dropped in the bottom of the sea or something.
Yeah, see, the thing is, I don't think Arya's gonna die, but I don't think it's gonna be plot armor due to like not wanting to piss off the Twitter outrage mob. I think it's just because Arya has a role to play by the end of everything. So I think it's
that too, yeah.
But I don't think they're gonna keep Arya alive for.
I think she's gonna go see what's west of Westeros. I do. I think that's gonna be her ending. She sails off on one of what they call her in the show. It's Yara in the show.
Yara, the Greyjoy.
Yeah, she's gonna sail off on one of her ships and never be seen again.
And that's the thing. I think Arya and Yara are both going to stay alive, but it's not going to be because they're afraid to kill her off. It's because there's another reason.
Do you think Brienne's going to die? And where is Brienne?
Yeah, we didn't see Brienne this episode. And we didn't see Podrick either. That's a good question.
I wanted to see Brienne's reunion with the Hound because she left, him pretty fucked up.
Well, they already saw each other last season when they brought the White to the Dragon Pit.
That's right. You're right. They did. Yeah. I forgot. Yep. My bad.
Man, I'm glad you brought up Arya sailing west because I have a bit of a personal theory. I don't know if anybody else has brought this up before or not, but to answer the question, what is west of Westeros? I believe it's Essos, and I'm pulling book material here. I doubt the show will actually touch on this.
No, I bet you they have an America-like continent over there, dude. I'm betting you.
I don't think
there is an America-type continent in the world of an Ice and Fire, if that's what you want to call it.
See, I don't think so, and the reason I have a few reasons for this theory. The first reason I have is when you go through the world of Ice and Fire, there was the Long Night in the far east of Essos, where where the five forts are and where Ashai by the Shadows is, and that's where the whole myth of Azor Ahai comes from.
Oh no,
and
they're not
also
a spin-off show with Arya and fucking Ashai. No.
and also the religion of R'hllor. Here's my theory. Essos and Westeros were at one point in time both connected. In the same way that the neck was shattered by the magic of the Children of the Forest, that also separated Westeros and Essos. I would like to go back and look at the map and see if there's anything from a geographical standpoint that would at least back up my theory. But I think at some point in time, the two continents were connected.
I don't know.
What I want to see, though...
I have the map on my wall. They don't necessarily fit together like a puzzle piece, if that's what you're saying. But no, looking at the chat here, Andy says, I think Euron will try and kill Cersei, and the Mountain will kill Euron. But in the scuffle, the Mountain will accidentally kill Cersei's baby, and then she will commit suicide. Interesting theory. What do you think about that?
I mean, that would be an interesting direction to take it. I don't know if Cersei would go as far as to commit suicide, but I think my theory was always she would die in childbirth or die due to the miscarriage.
Wait a minute. No, Battle of the Blackwater, she was about to kill herself and her kid. She will commit suicide.
Yeah, that's a fair point.
Herself and her kid, because just herself, I don't think so. I think if it was just her, she'd go suicidal attack on someone. But I don't know if she'd just give up. She'd take people with her, blow up the city, at the same time,
Okay, here's a counter proposal. If she gives birth and the child is stillborn, I think she would commit suicide.
That one, yes. That one I think would finally break her.
But she didn't use all the wildfire to blow up the Sept of Baelor, right?
We don't really know that specifically. I mean, there's a possibility she did, but we don't know. They haven't confirmed it one way or the other.
Do you think the Red Keep will crumble in episode 5 or whatever when they hit King's Landing?
I think, well, my theory on this. I think the Red Keep I think Winterfell will fall. And I think the Red Keep will be attacked by the Army of the Dead. And I think undead Viserion will torch the Red Keep. And I think Dany will get her wish of breaking the wheel and melting the Iron Throne.
But here's the thing, though. I think Winterfell as a name is kind of symbolic, actually. I think Winter did fall, and that castle has fallen before and been rebuilt. So do you think it will be rebuilt again? Or will House Stark just now become the royal line mixed with the Targaryens?
Well, I mean, I don't know. That's kind of a difficult question to answer because I already said I do think that Winterfell will fall. Despite all of the forces that Jon and Dany have at their disposal. And we've seen how not undead dragons are, and then we've seen how undead Viserion was. They made it a point to show us that not only is he faster, and we would have to imagine he's probably impervious to most forms of attack aside maybe those dragon glass arrows could come in handy. But how are you going to defend Winterfell against Viserion? Undead Viserion. You could give him a run for his money.
You have 2 other dragons. 2 is better than 1.
Yeah, 2's better than 1, but it definitely seems like the Night King is far more adept at dragon riding than Jon and Dany combined. And also, Viserion is apparently strong enough to burn down the wall. I don't know.
Yeah, that was pretty badass, actually. And RH, welcome. Please like and subscribe if you're new here, which I believe you are.
The Red Witch was not.
And they asked, were any of the leaks accurate? To be honest, I watched a lot of theory stuff. There's a couple different people. Rawrist, I like to watch her. Secrets of the Citadel every once in a while because they do like 3-hour just in-depth, like totally nerding out, which is awesome. When I'm playing Civ 5, it's awesome to have in the background. But other than that, I don't usually watch it. But on Red Team Review, I watch them, Preston Jacobs, stuff like that. But I didn't really go on Watchers on the Wall or any of those websites this year. I kind of wanted to just experience it when it came out.
And yeah, no, I did read some of the leaks. I mean, there was some stuff that was kind of accurate, but it wasn't like the last season where it was basically, a scene for scene depiction of the episode. So I don't know, 50-50, I guess.
Yeah, no, and Joshua, I think Melisandre. Okay, so it's funny. When at the very end you see the rider riding up, Doku is like, "That's Melisandre. I know it is. Look, that's Melisandre. I bet you anything. That's Melisandre." And then they get down off the horse, and you can tell it's a dude. He's like, "No, that's Jaime." And I was thinking the whole time that could be Melisandre, but I think that's Jaime because I always thought he would show up in episode 1. And so, yeah, there he is.
See,
so
I was kind of hoping
will show up later.
I was kind of hoping it was Melisandre because that would be a very interesting, seeing Melisandre approach Jon Snow like towards the end. I mean, I'm not going to say I'm displeased that it was Jaime, but I wish it was Melisandre because that could have made things in episode 2 far more interesting, in my opinion. But that's just my opinion.
Yeah, no, and all right, so prediction episode 2 specifically. What do you think is going to happen? And remember, if there was a preview on there, we didn't watch it. We jumped out of that and immediately started this stream. That way we can give our honest reaction with it, what was it? 3 minutes, I think, Doku? It took, before we switched over.
Yeah, we pretty much hopped over as soon as we finished.
Yeah, so the next episode, Jon rides the dragon again, probably, maybe. I could see him and Dany going to go find out where the Army of the Dead is, right?
Yeah.
What's the best way to scout other than on a dragon? I mean, yeah, a horse, but a dragon? Come on. There's 2 of you. You spot them, and then you bounce. What, the fucking Night's King is going to chase you down? I doubt it.
I don't think they're going to do that because Bran already told Jon and Dany, yeah, your dragon's been resurrected. So I don't think they'll do that. I think they're going to spend time trying to fortify Winterfell, knowing that the Night King and the Army of the Dead are on the way, and he has an undead Viserion on his side.
Been fun talking, but I got to go and do work. So talk to you later.
All right,
later, Eldritch. Yeah, no, I don't think they're going to do that. I think episode 2 will pick up with Tormund and Benedict Dondarrion making their way to Winterfell, and I think that's when we're going to see we're going to get our first glimpse of the Army of the Dead in all its CGI glory.
No, the chat was already making fun of you for calling him Benedict with Dondarrion, and you did it again. So.
Yeah,
it's Barrick, but yeah.
Oh, Barrick. Well, yeah, I earned that.
But no, I'm interested to see what happens with the Golden Company next Sunday. You think they're just going to sit there at King's Landing, or is she going to position her forces further north, and secure her area? Like, there's no sense in just securing one city, right, and just waiting. Or is there? I mean, is that the move you would make? Not me. I would set up other defenses, but yeah.
Yeah, no, I would. I mean, if it were me from a tactical standpoint, already knowing what's going on, because we know that Cersei is aware the wall has fallen and the army that are on the move. I would do exactly what I would do if I was sitting in Winterfell, I would fortify my defenses, and at this point in time, all you can do is wait. So if I was in Cersei's position, I would harden my defenses at King's Landing, and I would do exactly what she said. Let the monsters fight each other.
So we both know Dan and Dave invented the transporter for this show. So so that means Braun will be there next episode probably. So does he try and kill him?
See, I'm not going to call that one way or the other. I think he might be very tempted to, but when the time comes to do the deed, if I had to bet my money, I don't think he will. He might pull a damn it, what was Jon Snow's wildling lover? What was her name again?
I don't remember right now, but there's a good comment in the chat here. Andy says, "Hey guys, do you think that Arya will use the dragon glass spear she has requested to shoot down the undead dragon?" That's immediately what I thought when I saw that design. I didn't think it was a blowgun looking thing like you did, Doku, which I didn't correct you earlier because we were having a good back and forth and just moving through it. But it looked like a spear, and I think she's going to use that to take down the dragon. I agree. Like,
see, it looked like a egret. Thank you, Andres. Egret. Yeah, I think Braun might pull a egret, and maybe shoot pull a Skyrim and shoot Dan or Jaime in the knee. But I don't think he'll kill him. I definitely don't think he'll kill Tyrion. He already fought for him in the Eyrie, so I don't think he will.
I think Tyrion will die by another lover. Because that'd
be interesting.
It's the only thing he would actually fuck, or it seems to be the only thing that he cares about is the ones who are closest to him. So it'll have to come from one of them because he's survived so much shit.
Yeah, I mean, just the way they've set everything up, there's a lot that could happen. I'm really not sure what direction they're going to take it. And I don't know about the dragon glass thing because at the time, I don't think Arya was aware that there's an undead dragon because I didn't see her in the courtyard of Winterfell. I don't know if she's aware of that, but I don't know, maybe it's a dragon glass scorpion because they did show the scorpion and the dragon skull in the intro. So a Qyburn with dragon glass, maybe? That could be a thing. And hello, Joshua Armstrong. Thank you for joining us.
Armstrong?
Yeah.
Janet.
Yeah, no, I'm not sure.
Oh, no, I'm addressing the chat.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Sorry. My bad.
It's all good, man.
I'm not sure exactly how they're going to do episode 2. Like I said, I think we gave episode 1 a fairly decent rating. And we went over it step by step. I don't even know if I need to do a review video at this point. This has kind of been that, right?
Yeah, I think we've given it a pretty decent shake. It's definitely not perfect. It has its flaws. It's a decent setup. I'm just not sure what direction they're going to take things. It's kind of hard theory crafting at this point because, I mean, hell, almost any fan theory that hasn't already been proven or disproven at this point could be possible.
Well, one thing I do know is even the actors, that played Danny and John said that there's going to be some tension over this, his lineage. So I think we'll see that next week. I think that'll be a big focus of episode 2. And then you might also see more of a playoff between Cersei and Psycho Greyjoy, dude. And he's gonna be pissed when he finds out that his new, his niece, which he made his new companion for his voyages, which was creepy, right? But
well, the one thing
Yeah,
I do know,
he's gonna be mad that she got away.
the one thing I do know is just based upon the intro. We did see the last Hearth. We saw Winterfell. We saw the catacombs underneath Winterfell. We saw King's Landing. If we see Bear Island in the intro to episode 2, then I'm calling it now. We're going to see the Army of the Dead completely sack Bear Island. And that's when we're going to get our White Walker fix.
Oh, I hope they don't sack Bear Island, because those people were like, oh God, what did they remind me of? The Irish. Don't give any fucks and just do their own shit.
And they are directly in the path, though. It would be very surprising if they skip Bear Island completely and just go straight to Winterfell. I would be very, very surprised if they went that route.
Can they even get to the island? Because the show has contradicted itself. In one instance at Hardhome, they can't do shit in the water. On another, they could drag a freaking dragon out of the water with chains. By going down into the water and attaching it to the dragon, and so which is it? We don't know.
They have kind of fucked that part up a little bit. That was one of the times where Game of Thrones did not have some good attention to detail. They're few and far between, but they are there. Honestly, I think if they sack Bear Island, though, it won't be the Army of the Dead that's going to sack Bear Island. It's just going to be the Night King on the back of Undead Viserion. He's going to torch the whole damn thing and call it a day. If they haven't completely evacuated it already.
I forgot about that. That's a good point. Other than that, yeah. Unless you got something else, Doku, I think we've kind of gone completely over the episode. So,
well, Joshua Armstrong in the chat wants to know, what are your takes on John and Danny if they should stay together? I think they should. If they do or don't, well, we're going to have to find out. But I think one of the two of them is eventually going to die by the time we get to episode 5.
Well, and Targaryens have no problem with the whole incest thing. Yeah. And hey, that's a European thing from back in the day. George R. R. Martin didn't make that up out of nowhere. It was a thing. Keep the bloodline pure for the royals. So.
Oh, don't forget the Egyptians.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So, and at least it's not his sister.
Oh, yeah, and that's the thing. They can't, Andy says they can't swim, but they're fine with water. That's how they attach the chains to the dragon. I have no idea. It would be interesting if they just kind of went full diver mode and just drop whites into the water and have them just cross underneath the sea, because unless they freeze to death, I don't know. The show really needs to address that issue, because that's kind of been a point of, I'm not going to say contention, but just confusion as to what are the rules when it comes to White Walkers, and water. Because I always figured they would just freeze a section of water and just walk across it. But ever since the battle at the lake, I guess that's not possible.
Yeah, I don't know either, but I did see a lot of new faces here tonight, and thank you guys very much. We'll be doing the same thing next week right after the episode, so come check it out, please. And if you do like politics, we do more politics and satire stuff during the week, and I also have a history show coming out on Sundays starting in 2 weeks. So check that out as well. Please like and subscribe. We have a Patreon. There's also a website. Doku, tell them about the website.
Oh yeah, we have a website. Thanks to my good friend Mad Dodge here, and a healthy amount of booze. Mad Dodge over here decided to make a dare, so we now own pewdtube.com or .com, I believe. Yeah, so if you're interested, there's some forums over there. We occasionally post articles, and live streams from Exiled Opinions. That's the channel I'm a co-manager of. We upload our live streams to the website as well. Feel free to come, hang out, talk, shoot the shit. We welcome everybody.
Well, no, and you guys talk about anime and all sorts of other movies and stuff. Anybody tuning in because of Game of Thrones chat here probably likes movies and TV. So yeah, check out Exiled Opinions, guys.
Oh, and if you do like drinking, we also have a quite the entertaining drinking game. Usually we read Rotten Tomato reviews. Sometimes we'll read the Mary Sue or Kotaku. Sometimes we go through Twitter and just read some hashtag and some cringe. It's quite fun, but I'm not going to say it's necessarily good for your liver.
Well,
Anyway, thank you very much, guys, for coming out. Thank you, Joshua, for jumping in. It was towards the end, unfortunately, but we can hang out off air for a little bit.
Oh, dude,
but,
I was trying to, have us all bounce off. I thought we needed a third person.
Yeah, but take it easy, everybody, and it was nice to see all the new people. I do hope to see you guys again. Good night and good luck. We're out of here.